to order this meeting of the Conservation Commission of Manchester by the Sea, held on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, in the year 2026. We operate under the auspices of the Wetlands Protection Act of the state and the General Wetlands Bylaw of our town, with a mission to protect the wetland resources and to serve our neighbors. A couple of background points for the record. We are conducting this meeting entirely virtually, consistent with ongoing rules and regs from the state. And therefore, we are recording both audio and video. If you prefer not to have your image recorded, you can certainly shut off your camera. We will also be recognizing people when public comment is appropriate. Either if your video is on, you can raise your hand physically, or you can click raise hand on your Zoom commands. And then identify yourself, name and address, and please try to keep your comments to 2 minutes. We will be conducting all of our voting by roll call tonight, and we will encourage people to use the chat function in Zoom exclusively for technical questions. So if you have something to say about a particular application or issue, don't say it in chat because it doesn't become part of the minutes, the public record. That said, let me call the roll and we'll get rolling. Dr. Olga Hayes.
Here.
Dr. Henry Ottinger.
Here.
Mr. James Hoffman.
Here.
And I'm searching for David Lumsden. Has he? Oh, there he is.
He's in. He just came.
He's in. Let's give him a moment to get oriented. David, are you here? We're calling the roll.
Okay, I am here. Thank you for
Excellent.
your patience.
Well done. And I'm Steve Gang, Chair, and I am here. So a quorum being present, we begin our work. We'll begin by convening the public hearing and considering new and continuing NOIs, notices of intent. The first of which is 44 Norwood Avenue, Mass DEP 39-937, map 50, lot 21, Nicholas Stengel. This is a continued hearing regarding proposed work within riverfront and bordering land subject to flooding.
I think he's here.
Yes, Nick, I noticed that someone is here. You are here actually on your behalf. Did you want to say anything? I had understood that you wanted to continue, but since the hearing is open and you're here, tell us if you have anything to say or any questions.
Yeah, good evening, Commission. Nick from 44 Norwood. It was my understanding that Bethany put a letter from the structural engineer that was requested to proceed with the project inside your packet for the weekend. And the question was posed, is this what the commission's looking for? And that's the question that I was hoping to address tonight.
Okay. Well, I know Henry and I have discussed this and gone back and forth with Bethany a bit. So we can give you our take on that, assuming we agree, which we may not. That's always not a take function on the commission, happily. For my part, I was glad to see the structural engineer address the basic question we raised, which is, will the proposed design increase the loading on the old wall that armors Sawmill Brook and marks, one edge of your project? And the conclusion was, it appears not. And, by making that a condition and requiring some monitoring, we can dispose of that issue. I was left with a little question. I don't know how severe it is about the new foundation, which you intend to pour on the west side to support existing and additional building. since it's in Riverfront, and I simply wanted to make sure, since the design is yours from you, and you're not a professional engineer, wanted to make sure that somebody had looked at that foundation and decided, could confirm that it is adequate to stand up to the risk of flooding and stormwater and whatnot. Henry, does that capture where you are, or do you have something to add?
I'll just add one thought, Steve, which we discussed, which was in addition to those considerations you just mentioned, we want to also be sure that the new foundation does not transfer any additional load to the stone wall that's within the brook. That's it. Does that make sense, Nick?
And I was very happy to see that letter, so it was good.
Yeah, we appreciate your patience as we work our way through this, and although it's always challenging, admire your initiative on doing this largely on your own.
So is this something we can discuss tonight, or we still need to continue it? And to see if there's anything else we want to ask Nick, of Nick.
Well, I contrasted it with other similar projects, such as, across the stream on Putnam Court, where a home was demolished and a new structure built, with all kinds of bells and whistles like flood chambers underneath it, on the foundation. And the reason I contrasted it is that in that case, as is typical, we had a professional engineer signing off on the design, and we had a licensed environmental scientist signing off on the delineation and the nature of impact. Delineation is not an issue here, but normally we would rely on somebody a credentialed environmental scientist, to say putting this new foundation as designed in the riverfront, either will not significantly impact the resource, or will do it in a way that minimizes impact and is consistent with the decisions we make about mitigation and waivers in the riverfront.
So we
So
basically are we not convinced that the house is now going to be supported by the new foundation, and the new foundation will not be leaning into the wall? Is that what we're trying to establish?
Yeah, very nearly, I'm convinced. But normally, we wouldn't have to make that decision ourselves. We wouldn't have to rely entirely on ourselves to make that decision. And the applicant, there would be these professional intermediaries. And Nick has inserted a structural engineer who's, I think, can remedy the issue about load bearing in the foundation by adding a sentence or two to his letter. But I don't know about the environmentalist saying, this design is consistent with good practice in the riverfront in a site like this. Jim, your hand is up.
Yeah. Steve, you said on prior meetings that the Conservation Commission is the last in line to receive and approve things. So has this already gone through the building permit process, and are we last, or are we in the middle, or what's the status of that? Has the building department approved the foundation?
Question. Bethany, do you know the status?
I don't know the status. All I know when I go accept permits to make sure they're not in the riverfront or in conservation jurisdiction, in order to get a building permit, I would need to approve and say yes, they did get an order of conditions in order for them to even pull a permit. Does that
Steve,
answer?
let's ask Nick where he's at in that process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the building commissioner will not let me do anything till I get approval from you guys. So I have been getting steady talks with him about questions I have about the project, but next step after this is permitting. And to answer some of your questions, the structural engineer outlined some special aspects to the building permit that would need a structural stamp. And I plan to work with him to get all those portions of the project stamped, including is the foundation. And the foundation is not my design. That's the structural engineer's.
That's helpful. Thank you.
I can state those elements again if you want me to.
I don't need them. I remember them from the letter you submitted. Everybody else okay on that?
Yeah, is that something we would put into a condition, Steve?
I should think so, yes.
Okay, then I'm okay with it.
Okay, well, I guess the question, we bounce back to you, Nick. Do you want to ask for a continuance to April 7th, or would you like us to try to close the hearing and reach a decision tonight?
There's some aspects to the project that need to the plans and to the project that need to change with this that come in conjunction with this latest letter. I was hoping to come in front of you tonight with all those, but I did not have enough time with not knowing if the letter was sufficient. So if knowing that,
understood.
I
will be requesting a continuance.
So in that case, I will issue,
Move
we do this, just issue a continuance for
move to continue.
file 0390937 to April 7th.
I will second that.
Second. Thank you. All those in favor? Jim?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Olga?
Aye.
David? Aye. And the chair is an aye as well. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate your diligence on this. The next NOI is a new one from the town of Manchester for Tappan Street. DEP file number 39948. Project is proposed surface and utility improvements within land subject to coastal storm flowage and the 100-foot buffer zone to Portland on Tappan Street. And I understand the town is asking us to continue this to April 7th. Is that right, Bethany?
Correct. Yes.
So could I hear a motion for that?
I move that we continue to the Tappan Street project 039-0948 to April 7th.
Second.
Second. Thank you. All those in favor? David?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Olga?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
And Steve is an aye. Which brings us to 18 Boardman Avenue, Mass DEP file 39-947 from Fred Morris. The project is proposed improvements to an existing seawall within land subject to coastal storm flowage and coastal bank. And who is here tonight to talk about this?
I'm here, Jordan Folds with DeRosa Environmental, and I have prepared a PowerPoint for the commission. I'm also joined by Carter Roberts. He's going to be doing the construction of the proposed extension of the seawall. So if there's any questions for the construction, he's here to answer those. And I will share my screen.
Good. I'm just making sure you can.
Just sent the request.
Okay. Bethany, I don't seem to have a command to allow participants to share. Can you do
I
that?
did hit allow. Yes.
Thank you. So you should be able to share now, Jordan.
Can you see my screen?
Loud and clear.
All right, so the applicant is proposing, well, let me start from the beginning. We're gonna review the existing resource areas on the site. So there's Coastal Bank, which is previously altered engineered structure and existing lawn. It's the majority of the Coastal Bank is the existing seawall, as well as land subject to coastal storm flowage at elevation 17. The project is the proposed seawall extension by approximately 2 feet for additional protection from sea level rise and climate resilience. The proposed addition of a concrete footing within the existing lawn to provide stability, and there's proposed grading within the existing lawn. The seawall extension is going to be attached to the existing wall using a drill and epoxy with steel pins placed roughly 4 feet on center. No trees are proposed to be cut as part of this project. Three trees are within the project area, and there are tree wells proposed to protect these trees, as well as a tree protection plan. The tree protection plan was drafted by the certified arborist Chris Wood, and he evaluated 3 trees, 2 red oaks, and a Norway maple. The plan includes adequately sized tree wells, maintaining appropriate root protection during construction, and limiting soil disturbance near the tree bases to help protect the trees. The project will follow the tree protection plan during construction, and the proposed construction is from April 1st to December 31st, with approximately 6-week no work around August. The proposed results of this project are 65 linear feet of impact to Coastal Bank, and that is the majority of the existing seawall. There's 1,225 square feet of disturbance within the 30-foot no disturb, and that's the grading adjacent to the seawall. Additionally, there's 300 square feet of disturbance within the 50-foot no build, and again, that's proposed grading, for a total of 1,525 square feet within the 100-foot buffer zone. Within the land subject to coastal storm flowage, there's approximately 4,120 feet of impact, and that's because the entirety of this project is within the land subject to coastal storm flowage. And I have the plans, and I can exit out and zoom in if it's too small, but as you can see, the majority of the work is within the existing seawall. The 3 trees that are proposed to be protected are right here, and right here. Again, those areas are within the grading adjacent to the wall. The grading is going to be within existing lawn, and it's proposed to remain as existing lawn. And I will take any questions.
Okay, questions from the commission? Henry?
Thanks, Jordan. Just 2 quick things. The first is this clearly falls under Chapter 91, and if the wall is licensed under Chapter 91, that's going to require an amendment, to my knowledge. And if it is not, then you'll probably need to apply from the start. What is the Chapter 91 status, Jordan?
So you are correct. We met with Chapter 91, and they required an administrative minor modification, and they don't require an order of conditions. So the Chapter 91 administrative minor modification has been filed and is in review. We should be receiving the results in the next 2 weeks.
Got it.
But they didn't seem to have any issues when we met with them, since it's within the
Can you remind
existing
us all?
seawall. What?
Oh, would you just remind us of the what qualifications constitute a minor modification?
Because it's within the existing seawall, they required only an administrative minor modification.
Okay. And
Just a follow-up question, if I may. What if you were raising it 20 feet? Would that be a minor modification in the existing footprint?
I don't believe so, but it's only proposed to be 2 feet.
Right, so I'm begging the question, at what point does elevation exceed minor modification?
Um, I don't know the answer to that question, but when we met with Chapter 91, they reviewed the full plans and that was their guidance for us.
Thank you. Go ahead, Henry.
Steve,
Yeah, Steve, I'm just going to propose that we take a site visit. I'm concerned about not about the applicant's necessarily project area, but any raise to the height of the wall will create some disturbance, some water disturbance around the corners, the adjacent property. If this is north-south, one's north and one's south. So I'd really like to take a closer look at that.
and that's what I was going to ask about, Henry.
Good,
About
good,
how
I
that
agree with that.
affects.
In the meantime, go ahead, Olga.
Well, I was going to ask you, Steve, how is this not considered armoring a bank?
It's definitely armoring a bank that's already armored, I guess, is the,
So if it's armored, we can further armor it? Yes. I'll have to-
yeah, that's the question. Because of where
Jordan?
the work is located, there's a presumption of significant impact to the wetland resource, and which has to be overcome here by the applicant, which is why we need to probe a little bit what might be the impact of the wall and of the grading and of the structure behind the wall to support it, which seem to
And
be
the
the
fill, and
elements.
the fill.
Yeah. How much fill is proposed, Jordan?
Let me just 1 second. So I know they're proposing to keep the grade adjacent to the wall the same. So because the wall is being raised 2 feet, they're proposing the grade adjacent where the area is steep to be raised to the same level as the top of the wall.
Hmm.
All right, I
So
think
where
that
there,
we can
I
just
we need
request
to,
that number.
we do need to take a look at this. I
Okay.
agree.
Just to butt in here, it's there's two parts of this seawall. One half of it, the grade will be raised behind it, but it's already mounded. So fill wise, we're probably talking, 30 yards of crushed stone backfilling. The second half is a double-sided wall, so there won't be any grading on it. It'll just be raising the existing double-sided structure up 2 feet.
Okay. And is there any need to provide some compensating storage for storm flow?
Because it's coastal, we don't have to compensate for storage.
Okay.
And have you considered the impact to the property next to it if this wall is raised?
So we are proposing erosion controls so it won't impact the adjacent properties. And the goal of this project is for coastal resilience and to protect the property if there's flooding, etc. So if anything, it would benefit the adjacent properties.
But not the one that's between this property and the railroad track. That's the one I'm concerned about. It's low, but anyway, we'll see that at the site visit.
Jim, did you have another point?
Yeah, I'm just curious on what led to this. Is there a history of erosion from storm activity so that, there's, I understand protecting going forward, but to the extent that there have been storms that have caused silting into the bay there, that to me is, some justification for, that protects the resource. If you've already had damage, and have old photographs or something, that would be helpful for me to understand, what led you to want to raise this storm wall, other than just precautionary.
Yeah, I mean, with the ongoing issues with the environment, sea level rise is going to continue to be an issue, and I think the applicant is looking to prepare for the future issues with sea level rise and to prepare with climate resilience by increasing the wall height.
And to
So-
add on to that as well, there is erosion that's visible, and we do have photographs along the banking of when a storm comes through and does wash out topsoil and landscaping out down onto the beach into the water.
It'd be great to see those pictures when we're on site.
Okay, we'll put
You
them
have
together.
them? Yeah, that'd be great.
Great. So Steve, I'm going to move that we continue DEP 0390947 18 Boardman Ave to April 7, and then potentially schedule a site visit as soon as we can.
Well, with that in mind, we've taken to holding our site visits on Saturday morning to allow our members who commute on the weekdays to join us. Would that be feasible for one or more of you, Jordan?
Yes, I would be able to participate. Not this Saturday, but I could do next Saturday.
Okay, that would be the 27th,
Yep, I'm
28.
available.
28th.
28th. Thank you. That's right, today's Tuesday. I think I can do that. How would that work for you Saturday morning, Olga,
Yes,
Henry,
Yes.
David?
That's best for me. I'll be gone this weekend, so the following weekend, the 28th would be much better for me. Thank you.
And I
All right,
also
shall
will
we-
have to confirm that's okay with the client as well.
Of course.
That'll be
Um,
fine. He's in South Carolina, but I will, come represent him if he's out of town. But he'll
Well,
be
curious-
fine with.
Curiously, somebody online named Fred, but it may not in fact be Fred Morris.
Or is Fred Morris in South
This,
Carolina?
this is
I-
Fred Morris, and he.
Oh, Fred, hello.
Good. The answer is yes. I can zoom in, but and indeed in South Carolina right now. But
Steve, let's pick a time.
in terms of the earlier comments, as Carter said, we have had water wash over the top of the existing seawall, creating stuff which you'll see pictures of. So it's not just theoretical. And the other thing you were mentioning, the house between us and the railroad tracks, for reasons that have to do with the way the water ebbs, they haven't had the water going over the seawall on their end, so that they don't need, because we offered them the possibility of extending it all the way, and they say they really didn't need it.
That's good to know. Thank you. So there's a motion on the table. I'll hear a second.
second,
Thank you. And just to remind us, it's to continue this to our April 7 meeting and to schedule a site visit for Saturday, March 28. Shall we say 9 a.m.?
okay,
Sure.
Works.
Good. Great. All those in favor then? Jim,
All right,
David,
Aye.
Olga,
right,
Henry,
Aye.
and Steve is an aye as well. Thank you, team, and Fred Morris.
Thank
This
you.
brings us, you're welcome. This brings us to an amended order of conditions on Mass DEP 39-925 for 12 Boardman Avenue, John and Leslie Gurley, which, and the amendment addresses drainage from the existing structure and some small additions. Whom do we have here tonight for this?
Good evening, members of the commission and Mr. Chair. My name is Tobin Schulman, architect with SV Design. here on behalf of the Gurleys. I believe they're present as well. Yep, there they are. I see John and Leslie.
Good evening.
So the situation is that when we initially applied for this with this notice of intent, there was the appearance of a subsurface drainage system, meaning the downspout conductors from the gutters led into what appeared to be a PVC pipe going underground, which we presumed led to subsurface drainage somewhere on the property. And the plan was to put new gutters on and feed into this same subsurface drainage system. Upon a little further digging, it turns out that there was no subsurface drainage system. Essentially, those PVC pipes went about a foot underground and stopped. And so the proposal that we are coming to you with is to, rather than have gutters back on the house that concentrate the flow of the roof water into downspouts, that instead we flow off of the roof into a drip edge detail, which I submitted to you, which allows the water to then naturally absorb into the soil and before it makes its way to the ocean. I think this is a better approach. The site itself is also, as we discovered with a little bit of shovel in the groundwork, quite ledgy. There's a lot of rock in the ground there, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And so actually creating a subsurface drainage system to accommodate the roof water would involve blasting or something quite disruptive to the site that we think would be less advisable and less or more disruptive than what we're proposing.
Mhm. Thank you. Any questions for Tobin from the commission?
I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah, would you just remind us what the setback is? In other words, where the water will drip down versus the actual coastal bank?
So yeah, may I share my screen?
I think so.
Share. Fantastic. Can everyone see my plan now?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit funky because there's a secondary coastal bank. So the primary coastal bank is the seawall here, but there is a secondary coastal bank due to the topography, which was determined by Bob Griffin, which does come up relatively close to the house here and run along here, and so the areas where it would drip would be off of the back of the garage, off of the side of the house along this edge, and a little bit along the side of the edge here into what is already crushed stone there.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well, I was just wanting to confirm that there's a significant amount of lawn there for the dripping water to percolate.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I apologize. But yes, exactly. This is all lawn area between the patio and the seawall.
Good. And I'm content with it as well. Henry, Jim, David, any questions or concerns?
Yeah, just a
No.
quick question, Tobin. Do you anticipate addition of any more crushed stone to help with drainage?
Yeah, so along the drip lines of the eaves, the proposal is to install about 18 inches of width of crushed stone, 6 inches of depth, to just let it not splash back dirt on the house and give some area to absorb in, and then to soak into the soil.
Great, thank you.
And could I just ask what kind of roof it is?
It is an asphalt roof.
Because, we have expressed concern in the past just with matter kind of leaching in off of an asphalt roof. So I don't know.
I see.
There's a way to capture any particulates that come off of that, but that would
Well, we do
my only
have,
question.
we do wrap the underside of this in a filter fabric so that anything that landed into that crushed stone would stay within that crushed stone. It wouldn't, in other words, make it further beyond that filter fabric.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
Question. Good question. All right. Any comment from the public on 12 Boardman Avenue? All right, commission ready to vote on this amendment?
Yes.
Yep.
I'll hear a motion.
I'll move that we issue an amendment to the order of condition of Mass DEP 039-0925 at 12 Boardman Ave.
Seconded.
All those in favor? Jim?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Olga?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
And the chair is an aye as well. Thank you, folks. Good
All right.
luck with the completing the project.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. Happy St. Patrick's.
You too.
Nobody's wearing green.
I know. Well, Bethany's in the middle of a green wetland.
I'm wearing green and a hat.
Next, we have a request for determination of applicability for 355 Summer Street from Stephen and Carolyn Kelly. We would have a local number for this, I assume, but I don't see it on the agenda. And this is for invasive species removal within the 100-foot buffer zone and proposed native woody plantings. And Jordan, are you here to introduce this to us as well?
Yes. So I'm here again. I'm gonna present another PowerPoint for 355 Summer Street. Sorry. Where's the
The slideshow is one of
There we
the
go. Here we go.
menu items.
So the existing resource areas on this site are salt marsh in the 100-foot buffer zone of salt marsh, as well as land subject to coastal storm flowage at elevations 13 and 14. The project elements include native woody plantings. These plantings would be installed in front of the existing solar panel. In this image, it's where the grasses are. There would be a creation of a short berm, approximately 10 to 12 inches tall, with compost and sand mix. And the existing grasses would be temporarily excavated and then replanted into the berm. The goal of this native woody planting is to block some of the view of the solar panels from the street view and create more of a natural landscape. There is existing dead mugo pine, staghorn sumac, and multiflora rose on this side of the solar panels over here, and those are proposed to be removed and replaced with native species. Another portion of this project involves the removal of existing Japanese knotweed, which is displayed on the right side of this picture, along the northern property boundary, and it's proposed to be cut during the winter season, and the dried materials are proposed to be burned under local burn permits. There's also a proposed hardware cloth that's 1/2 inch to an inch that's proposed to be staked over where the Japanese knotweed is cut to girdle new new growths, and prevent future Japanese knotweed growth. There's also an existing wood chip pile, and it's proposed to be placed over the hardware cloth to further prevent future Japanese knotweed growth. This is an image of the existing wood chip pile that's proposed to be moved to be spread over the hardware cloth at the northern portion of the property boundary. Small machinery is proposed to be used to move the wood chip pile, and the area is proposed to be reseeded with native grass species to restore the area back to maintained lawn. And then I have the image of the plan with the buffer zones. As you can see, the native plantings are adjacent to the existing solar panel, the existing wood chip area that is proposed to be moved over the existing Japanese knotweed removal area. And then I have the proposed native planting plan, which includes beech plum, staghorn sumac, winged sumac, winterberry holly, bayberry, sweet fern, and the existing switchgrasses to be removed and then planted back in the same location. And then I will take any questions.
Thank you, Jordan. Questions, comments from the commission? Henry?
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. I'm comfortable with invasives removal and potentially with the moving of the wood pile. But creation of a berm inside of our buffer zone is something I'm not in favor of, very strongly not in favor of. And it leads me to ask a question actually about the solar panels. Do you know who installed them, when they were installed, and if permission was received from Concom?
Yes, it absolutely was.
It was.
Sorry,
We
just checking
considered
with
it.
Jordan on that, Olga.
Yes, it was permitted. We've been working with the clients for a long time on projects within your jurisdiction, and it was permitted through conservation.
Okay, got it.
The,
So
can I add a little bit of anecdote? Because I know the Kellys, the reason they're doing this is that the neighbors are complaining about the visuals of this solar array. They don't like the look of it, so they're trying to ameliorate that.
And also
yeah,
to add, oh, sorry.
that doesn't seem like a request that's under our jurisdiction, but let's keep going.
I'm just filling you the
Yeah,
answer.
thanks. Yeah, got it.
And to add to the concerns about the berm, the berm is only proposed to be approximately 10 inches tall, less than a foot to a foot, and it is to ensure that the plantings survive. So there's a nutrient dense area that the plantings are in, and it would be improving the habitat for natural native bird species with buried shrubs and creating a much healthier buffer zone for the salt marsh.
Right, I understand that, though you're changing the grade of buffer zone, and if we're evaluating this as an RDA, I think the clear answer there is going to be that by itself would require an NOI. But I'll be quiet and let others comment.
I tend to agree, and it makes me ask, maybe this is a silly question, but why do you need a berm to support healthy growth? Why not just amend the soil at the existing grades?
So they are shrub species, so we want to enhance the area, and also, as Olga has said, that part of that is the solar panels are, people are complaining about the view of the solar panels, and so we're slightly lifting it so that way there is more of a buffer around it, so there's more of a natural environment.
Well, those are laudable arguments, but I don't think they carry much weight as offsetting potential impact to a wetland resource.
Oh.
Well, it's kind of like raising a wall 2 feet or creating a planting bed. I mean, I think calling 10 inches a berm is a little bit of a stretch. I mean, you have to plant some things like blueberries above the water saturation level or they're not going to take. I think they've done I mean, maybe it has to go to an NDI, but it seems like this is a pretty laudable proposal, in my opinion.
And minimal, really.
But I would have to be convinced that there aren't suitable species that could accomplish the purpose without having to regrade the site, and I suspect Henry agrees.
I do, and I also believe Mike DeRosa knows what those species are.
Yeah.
So that's
Plants
why
don't like wet feet.
we did choose more of shrub species so that they are suitable for the native bird species and the native organisms.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it strikes me it might be useful to view the site and to get a sense of how substantial a 10-inch or 12-inch berm is going to be. It's not a small solar array. It's a fairly ambitious one for a large residence. And it has been an eyesore for the public for, Olga, would you guess a decade already?
Like, but it's not an eyesore for me because I like solar arrays. But yeah, I would say a decade.
I like them too, but this one reflects brilliantly onto pedestrians walking down Ocean Street or trying to enjoy the marsh views, as we suspected it would. But as the town has cautioned us, we have no jurisdiction over viewscapes,
Right.
even within wetland resources. So, we can applaud this purpose, but it's irrelevant to our considerations of whether this is a good thing to do.
Could you repeat that one? Because I haven't heard that. I know that some conservation commissions do take views into account. And so we've been directed by
as a consequence or an outgrowth of this particular project, Olga can confirm this for me. The Concom at that time undertook to amend our bylaws. Not simply our regulations, which we can do on our own, but the bylaws in terms of what interests we protect in wetland resources. And the interest we were trying to add was viewscape or aesthetic value. And we took that to town meeting and it was narrowly defeated. So the town has essentially said, keep Concom is not allowed, as one opponent said, to be the beauty police. I think that's the backstory on that one.
No, that's very helpful.
Yeah. And obviously I disagree with that. I think properly administered, properly written, which we thought it was, it would be so far from being beauty police and much more likely to be, whether the other values of wetlands, such as recreation and passive enjoyment of the natural habitat as seen through your eyes, whether those could be protected.
Yeah.
So, anybody else think a site visit would improve our ability to measure the actual impact of this?
Yeah, I'd like to go look at it.
Sure. Me too.
Okay. Jordan, do you think we could tack that on before or after the visit to 18 Boardman on Saturday the 28th?
Yep, we can definitely
9:30
site visit.
9:30 sounds right. I'll hear a motion then to continue to April 7 and schedule this site visit.
I'll make that motion that we continue to April 7, 355 Summer Street, and continue to schedule the site visit for 9:30 on the 28th of March.
I'll second.
All those in favor? David?
Aye.
Olga?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
And I'll join you. It's unanimous. Thank you, Jordan. Well done.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in 10, 12 days.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
You too. Our final item in public hearing is a request for certificate of compliance on Mass DEP 39-844, which was the prior work on Tappan Street, which was not performed. And as I understand, the town would like to continue that as well, so we take up both
Yes,
the request for a CFC. Okay.
correct.
And the NOI. So will somebody move that we continue this request to April 7?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. Second. All those in favor? Henry.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Olga.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. At this point, we will close the public hearing. Thank you to, I guess we've scared the public away. But in any event, thanks to those who were here. Is there a great Celtics game on tonight or something?
I think it's called St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, typical St. Back to the Guinness. So we're not dealing with any orders of condition. We had minutes for review. Is that correct?
Yep.
Which escaped me. I did not look at them. Anybody have a suggestion or a correction?
Yes. On 48 Central, the motion was made by me and it was seconded by nobody, a blank. So we need to figure out who seconded it. And the other was, there was a thank you, either David or Gordon, who complimented committee and neighbors of 48 Central. Was it you, Dave? It was
David,
it was
yeah.
you, right?
Yes, it was.
It wasn't Gordon. So that needs to change.
I'm fairly
Gotcha.
certain that I seconded that
That's-
motion.
And that's it.
Well,
That's all I found.
Unless there's any objection, you are now official seconder on February 24th. Don't let it go to your head. All right, can I hear a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second? All those in favor? Olga?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
And the chair is an aye. Other new old business. Henry, I suspect you have some comments to make about 7 Central and associated properties. And I wanted to report on 31 and 33 Smiths Point Road.
Yeah, and before that, Steve, I'll just say real fast that so the facilities planning group has been meeting fairly regularly, and I think that the design for the well, the PFAS well on Lincoln is at like a 90% completion and will be, I don't know the breaking ground date, but if anybody has questions about that, please let me know, maybe offline. And the other project that group works on is the combined facility for police and fire and DPW. And the status of that is that Chuck and Nate would like to put out a proposal for an owner's project manager to do an evaluation of there are basically 3 sites. One's Pleasant Street, one's School Street, one's the existing locations, I think. But to actually get someone to work on an evaluation, like a matrix kind of evaluation of those sites to get more information for us and a way to decide on what we're going to put forward. So that's facilities planning. Again, just shoot me an email or text if you have a question. David, do you have a question about facilities planning?
Not about that, but I do have another item that I'd like to bring up after you're finished, Henry.
Well,
Okay.
let's first just express our thanks to Henry for staying on this one. It's actually a big deal in terms of the capital expense and the the extent of the project, whether or not it goes into wetland jurisdiction, but actually most places it is in at least buffer zone, all of what they're proposing. So there's a lot involved. David, what's on your mind?
So we used to meet once a month. I notice our agenda is moving along much quicker now that we're becoming seasoned members. I'm wondering whether there's any interest on the board of changing our meetings from every third week to monthly.
I don't remember. When were we once a month?
Oh, a couple of years ago.
Were we?
I think we were more frequent, like every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was when we
We
had
have
that.
done that.
Yes, that didn't last long.
No, no. And I can't tell whether we're just we're enjoying a lull in NOIs, and spring and summer will pick them up or not, as I think they tend to do. Bethany, what's your opinion about this? Is this the new normal, or are we in a quiet place?
We meet the same amount as like Beverly, and stuff like that. I feel like we meet a good amount. Hamilton meets like every other week, which I think is too frequent. So I feel like where we're at is good. And I feel like it's
Okay,
going to pick up. There's already a new notice of intent on the way. So I think it's going to pick up as spring rolls around. I think the winter just like lagged on.
And this would have been a whole lot longer if everybody hadn't
Yeah.
continued.
Tappan Street, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
David, I think that's a reasonable suggestion. Would you be willing to go to the next meeting and we could see how that fills in and then talk about it again?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I promise
Yeah.
to be there early next meeting too, to help shorten it.
Not a problem.
Super. That's a good idea, Henry. In terms of other items, Henry and I took an impromptu site visit on Saturday in between downpours, I guess, to look at the property at 33 Smiths Point Road. The neighbor, 31, is a little up gradient, and for a long time appears to have been discharging all their stormwater from the roof and from sump pumps at the edge of their property where it flows
Is this
down a
Cross?
slope.
Is
This is
Cross,
Bill
Steve?
and Ellen Cross. It's also the new owner of 58 Masconomo, the Kit Graham house, which has had a lot of work done, and the water that emerges from 31 Smiths Point, I think I have this right, flows down this slope, creating some erosion and scouring, which we saw the result of in the summertime, but we'd never actually seen it sort of live and in a wet season. It then flows over the coastal bank. So whatever's being scoured and eroded is being carried down to the coast, get into the resource. So Henry and I observed that this is not appropriate, that if you want to discharge water, it's not a matter of respecting neighbors' borders. It's a matter for a different committee or somebody. But in our case, it's a matter of a discharge that ends up carrying material into a wetland resource. So we drafted a cease and desist, which we handed over to Bethany. I assume, well, have you sent that already, or should we approve it tonight?
I think the commission has to like, as a whole, has to like agree to in order to send something out like that.
I was hoping just the chair in an ultimate exercise of executive authority could just do that. I guess it's going to my head, all this news. But that makes
Actually, I like
perfect
that
sense.
idea. I prefer that the chair make that executive decision on his own.
Right.
And at his own risk.
You're here.
Right. All right. So the order simply says, we're not telling you what to do with this water. You just got to stop it from going over the coastal bank carrying erosion material. So to the extent that it comes from your
Steve,
stormwater stuff.
is the house in violation? What is the number, the street number of the house that's in violation?
I believe it's 31 and the crosses are 33, but it's very much worthwhile
Crosses
checking
are
that.
31.
Cross is 31?
Oh, you checked,
Yes.
Bethany?
Okay.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Then the violating house is 33.
Got
It
it.
is, it has had a life tenant in it for some time who was the caretaker of the owner, but the owner passed away some time ago and left use of the property to this individual. And as I understand it, that life tenancy is ended and the property will, at some point, near future, be on the market. So this is a good time to have them rectify this.
So I'll make a motion that we approve a cease and desist letter for 30,
Three.
Three,
33, not
Thirty.
31.
33.
33.
What is it? Smiths Point Road?
Smiths Point Road, yes.
To mitigate stormwater runoff over Coastal Bank.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor? David?
Could I just
Oh,
ask,
more
what did you
discussion,
say?
sure.
What was 58 Moscanama? Why'd you throw that one out there? I was just trying to,
58 Moscanomo is the other abutter to 33.
Three.
And
Yes.
yeah, and 58 Masconomo has recently been bought by a young couple with kids, and they've had DeRosa do what we approved under an order of conditions, which is remove a lot of invasives and dead material from the slope down from their property and from a flat area where the water actually courses. So it's kind of spreading out into several streams as it leaves 33, and one of those streams at least goes across 58 Masconomo. Hence, two neighbors were involved in saying, is this a matter that Concom can weigh in on? And Henry and I said, yes, it appears to be.
I see.
One more question before we vote on this. Steve, what's
Mm-hmm.
the consequences of a cease and desist? Do they have to take immediate action? And, think about that. That means digging dry well, maybe multiple dry wells. That's going to take some time and some energy and some planning.
Yeah, they have to figure out another place to send this water so that it doesn't end up going to the coastal bank. So the other side of their dwelling might make sense, even if in the short term it creates a boggy situation. There are I don't know if there are any storm sewers on Smiths Point Road. I know it's all septic for residential sewage. So you can't.
We
I
can
was just
check
gonna
that
say
with DPW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a cease and desist implies immediate action.
Correct.
There's also, isn't there construction going on right at that location from the DPW? Or no, from National Grid?
From the crosses. Well, no, the crosses are doing. Oh, you're right. There is some.
Yeah, we
There
saw
were some
some
construction
trenching for
vehicles
water
parked
pipes.
exactly. Yeah. So in any event, the applicant will need to figure this out. But the good news is, I guess, that there's an executor of the estate who's responsible for these decisions, and now there's a local experienced real estate agent involved. So it seems like a good time for them to figure out what's the alternative to putting this water downstream.
Another way to do it, though, would be, don't use the cease and desist language, just a stern letter of expectations within a time frame and so forth, so that you don't derail a sale and you get someone responsible in there who then we can make sure they deal with this. Because if it's just an absentee person, nothing happens and then the property doesn't get sold and the condition persists longer than we want it to.
request them to appear at the next meeting instead of like a cease and desist, like
We put that in
appear.
as well.
Yeah.
Yep, we put that in the letter as well. You could be right, but my understanding from the neighbors, without having spoken with the realtor, is that the realtor and the executor understand that there's a significant amount of improvement required. For instance, the sump pumps are operating because the basement is flooding, and it would be presumably easier to sell the property if you fix that before. And fixing that would logically include finding a place to have this water stay on your property or dissipate slower so that it doesn't reach the coastal bank. And I have also heard that the house is in disrepair, but be that as it may, I don't know those for facts. They're just observations
Well,
of the neighbors. And
I think Jim and David make good points, but I'm going to say this. Since in the cease and desist, we also request that in this case, the executor appears at the next meeting. So we can have a friendly conversation with them at the next meeting if we approve the letter, and then go from there.
yeah, and we're not unless we issue a cease and desist order, as I understand it, we are not able to issue an enforcement order. Enforcement order is the thing that actually has some teeth, some penalties attached to it. And
Just like
obviously,
stuff.
we
Yeah.
prefer not to do that. We prefer not to do that if we don't have to.
Right, but we also don't want to get sued. Because, if someone's house floods, they have some rights to kind of take care of their property. And, if you're not letting them do that, then you're the cause of the diminution in value. It can go a lot of sideways directions.
Yeah. If it hadn't been that these pipes have been here for years and the discharge has been occurring for years, then I would worry about what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if they were suddenly confronting flooding in their basement and needed to bring in temporary pumps and discharge the water somewhere or call the fire department, we would, I'm sure, grant them a temporary license of some kind or help them with a solution that would work temporarily. But this is a chronic situation.
Maybe the chief does have the right to make this call. What do you? David is right.
It's just, we have visited the site a number of times because we permitted the removal of invasives and dead material at 50 Masconomo a couple of years ago, and we permitted the Crosses tearing down and rebuilding a little guest cottage, and then finding out that they needed to put in a very large, elaborate new septic system. So we've been over those grounds and looked at it from both sides.
Okay,
and
let's vote.
Constantly through it, the water has persisted. All right, it's moved, and did I hear a second?
Olga?
I thought I moved it. So who seconded it? Henry, your
I
turn.
thought I moved it.
Yeah, I think Henry moved it.
Olga,
then I
second for me.
seconded. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor then. David.
I will say yes, hesitantly.
Understood. Jim.
Yes.
Olga.
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
And I will join. The final thing I'm aware of, except for Beaver Solutions, which lingers on our agenda every time, is Henry's comments about the status of 7 Central. You want to give us a synopsis, please?
Yes. Could I share my screen, please?
You should have the option to.
Oh, shoot. I got to do that from here. I got you. Okay. I don't have I don't have anything to show yet. Hold on, bear with me. Everybody relax for a second.
Yes, we'll
Old-
talk amongst ourselves.
It's an old guy trying to do something.
I'm going to ask the group, do you think this, and because I came late, I'm wondering if this is Henry's dining room behind him.
You missed the intro.
It's
You missed
evidently
it,
a famous Dublin Irish pub.
It's the Temple Bar in Dublin.
Oh my goodness. It's empty, Henry.
Well, I'm trying to change that. Hold on, I still got something coming. All right, is that on the screen?
No,
Now you have to hit the share button.
it's the green button on the bottom.
Gosh,
You
They
might have
should
to
not-
raise your cursor a little bit.
they
like-
should not. I got it. They should not ask old people to do this. Okay, is there a spreadsheet?
Yep.
Great. So I put the spreadsheet together and then I asked Bethany to fill in whether anything had been completed yet. So these were the 8 conditions from the November 12, 2025 Concom meeting. First is regarding the dumpster. The second is staging materials. The third is the staircase pad design. The fourth is the parking design. And then 5, 6, 7, 8 are kind of future kinds of things. Oh, planning board site plan submitted to the commission. So as far as I can tell, so the last thing due was this February 12th. Within 90 days, applicant submit an application on how to protect the resource from additional vehicle spaces.
No.
And that has not been received. Is that right, Bethany?
Yes. Sorry, didn't fill it out.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we got, which is nothing. We got nothing. And I think as a commission, we should discuss it or figure out what to do.
Yeah, these are not heavy lifts, as far as I can tell. At least in 2 cases, they're simply sending existing designs and plans to us.
So
Third
frustrating.
case,
Can I say something, please?
Yes.
Hello. This is Bethany. I spoke to after Henry first showed this Excel sheet, I did reach out to the Beatrice and the Flamias, the people that are in charge of and own 7 Central, asking, hello, where are these requests and the conditions that we had for the determination? And they asked a lot of clarifying questions about the dumpster, what the commission is asking for, and I tried my best to clarify what you guys are looking for them. And that was the last email I sent to them was February 27th. And I have not heard anything since.
what did they respond about the plans and strategies for protecting the resource for parking and dumpster and
Yeah, I was asking we need plans, strategies, how are you going to contain the parking area from impacting the resource area? That's what the commission's asking for. We're asking for a memo, explaining these and plans. That's in a drawing and dimensions of the parking,
So
pads.
what did they tell you?
They said they'll get it to us right away, but I haven't heard from them since I explained that in very thorough detail.
Okay, well, I think the first thing is for you to follow up with them, remind them
Okay.
of their promise, and point out that we haven't received anything yet, and the commission
Okay.
took this up at last night's meeting and was upset. by
I
the
will.
failure to comply with stuff which was perfectly acceptable to them at the time we granted the order of conditions.
I will. Yes.
Okay. And then if by the end of this week you don't see anything from them, please let Henry and me know,
I will.
and we'll see how we can escalate this without turning it into an
Yeah.
illegal war. Okay.
I understand. I tried to help them as best I could, but explaining like what you guys were looking for in February.
They
But
they had no questions about what we were looking for when we
during the November meeting, I know.
gave them those conditions in November. They were grateful and willing and able. So it's not entirely good faith to come back and say, "Oh, we had no idea what you meant."
Can we include this in our minutes that we reviewed? They're not complete, they're 90 days past due, and
Yeah. And I'll communicate with them that they need to send something ASAP.
Bethany, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
That office, there are a lot of people that work in that office, and I'm not sure the communication is always very smooth. Are you in contact with Beatrice, the architect that's working on these buildings? And if
She's like my first point of contact, like doing the enforcement and everything. That was who I was mainly speaking to throughout the whole process. The person that took over, Beatrice is included in all these emails, but the person that took over, Beatrice told me, was Arthur, who I assume is Ed's son.
Yeah,
Okay.
Arthur's Eddie's son.
Yeah. Okay.
But Beatrice is included in everything because she's what I consider my main point of contact to that
And
office.
has John Harden been involved in this?
I never heard from a John Harden before.
Okay, good.
when are they scheduled to open?
I have no clue the time frame of when they're scheduled to open.
Yeah, no, a lot of people have been asking whether we're going to get a new, is it Cafe Nero?
Yeah.
Is the intent? Yeah.
I do like those places, but they need to follow the proper things.
Yeah. Okay. Do we in fact need to take up Beaver Solutions again, or are we still waiting for Mark's
I think
opinion
Mark
about how
needs
we're paid?
I think Mark needs his say. So I think we have to wait for him to join us. He couldn't tonight, he told me.
Okay. Well, the only hazard here is that we should pay, well, it's no
Beaver
longer promptly,
Solutions.
but we should pay Beaver Solutions so the work has been completed.
Mhm.
Do you know whether we've paid those invoices?
For the invoice for work that you guys approved, I thought we already paid that. I was trying to figure out with Karen, like I thought they approved to pay that back in September, and apparently it didn't, like the invoice like didn't get through. It was just like an invoice to see if you guys are willing to pay that, but you guys approved already to pay it, so I think we can pay it. Do I make sense? I don't know.
Yeah,
There
that's
was
the
like a
status, which is
memo
we did approve it a while
before.
ago. The only
Yeah.
question we had was from which accounts, as we have multiple accounts,
It would
will
be,
these be paid?
yeah, Karen did answer me on that. Hold on, let me. So I feel like the part we can pay, because you guys did approve it, would be the one for work they have already did.
I'm sorry, Bethany. They submitted an invoice for work they've done,
Yes.
and they also submitted a proposal for next year. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but Mark suggested for next year, waiting for the fiscal year. to pay for that because that's the allocated money for that payment. But let me share my screen. Karen did answer the account about the account. Apparently DPW has also been in contact with Beaver Solutions. That's what she was telling me. And the maintenance agreement will be paid from the land use professional service account number. And this is the account right here. If you have another Beaver Solutions invoices for this year, you can use the wetlands protection account number here. These are the accounts she told me that they pay from.
Okay. Now, the bill that we approved was considerably more than $445.
So that bill was
Yeah.
for Chuck. That's a separate thing that DPW did with that bill. I don't know what they did with DPW, but that's what Karen told me. For $455. 45.
Yeah, I obviously we're not going to solve this tonight, but it's gotten more confusing rather than less. So I thought we were
Why?
dealing with something between $2,500 and $5,000
Yeah,
for
I
work
can pull it
done
up. It shouldn't be
so
confusing. The $445 is a separate thing that Chuck and DPW, that's from what they paid. Separate thing entirely.
So the
And
$445 was not paid by Concom and it did not come out of any of our accounts.
no, like the bill was, yes, exactly. That's from DPW. That's an entirely different thing. She was just telling me who paid Beaver Solutions this year. So the invoice that you guys did approve wasn't in fact the invoice. It was just like a memo to approve the work before they invoiced us, I guess.
Well, can we discuss this next month? This is, we're running,
Yeah, this is
I
like
was spending a lot of time on this one.
I don't
chasing
understand how much.
All right. Well, for next month, I want to see invoices and a paid stamp or a pending stamp on each one. And obviously, there's almost $27,000 in the wetlands protection expense account. So the question of do we have adequate funds is moot. So let's just simply make sure that we are paying our bills. Thank you. Anything else? Not
I think
mentioned
the
in our.
band's starting up, so I gotta go, Steve.
All right, I'll move that we adjourn.
Irish eyes are smiling on you, Henry. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Thank
night.
you, Bethany.
Right.
Thanks, Bethany.